Hello and welcome to the finals, the first game of the finals of the most recent ESL Power Cup 4, which was played on, I believe, the 15th of July. I totally tried to remember that date, and I'm not sure if I did. Anyway, this game is between LaFaf, who is on the right-hand side here, playing as the Red Cross with the blue colours, as the Space Marines. Obviously, the colours are way more important than the race for me. And over here in the yellow and black, very nice orcish colour scheme, is Koof as the orcs. So Koof going a very standard boss layout. LaFaf, very similar. Both hitting the early game, 2-3-4 onto both of them with the caster in 3 and the big main boss in 4. Kind of an interesting setup there. Orcs obviously going for the boy hut quickly. Got the first wall tower down. Got a load of boys out, just running around, trying to cause havoc, trying to get some early map control. The barracks has gone down from LaFaf, going with the same thing he's done before with the single scout squad, but he's actually getting a assault marine instead of the tactical marine that I've seen him get a few times. And going into scout production, which will probably last for the whole game, honestly. Trying to take some requisition generators in the middle, but it's not going to happen. Not taking his own point yet, but both players are just setting up on their further back points. The Marines have got a slight advantage in the economy side. As the orcs have pushed more for this early map pressure with a lot of boys around, and if they can keep this from going up, that might end up being okay, but it might end up being a mistake if they do not put enough into stopping this. And scouts, given these orc boys a little bit of trouble now, although the wild's going to hit off and these scouts will have to get out of the way before they get cleared up by this big pack of boys. Getting our first set of looters out as well. Oh, I didn't realise this is actually a attacker hut, not a boy hut. I'm actually a big fan of this. I think this is a really cool way to go. Instead of going with the shooters, you just go all out into the death gun looters. It requires a bit more work from the orc player for positioning and for setting everything up right and getting the fights off as well as you can. You don't have the advantage of those stick bombs, and you have the disadvantage of the setup times, but getting looters down is incredibly powerful if you can make it work. And these orcs are now actually just going to scoop up around the side, take a little bit of damage from that tower in order to start hitting generators. They can set the looters up there who can get a lot of damage on these pretty quickly. Scouts are going to hit them with a grenade probably, but the leash generator is going to go down. Oh, they tried to get into melee combat, but it looks like the boys have stopped that from going down. The banner has gone up by themselves, but these scouts are just getting absolutely chipped by boys here. Boys in the base might be suicide now, but they should be able to take out this generator before they go. And this is actually a lot of damage done. Unfortunately, he didn't manage to get that scout squad. That would have been a really nice pickup if he could get it. And these boys are probably going to go down. But that was a very nice move there from Koof, getting in there. He's managed to dodge the assault marines as well, who are trying to catch them on the run back. And now if the boys can get in combat with them, then the looters will absolutely shred them. And this could be really painful. Now, the assault marines are going to push around the boys and manage to get into melee combat with the looters, which is going to be really bad. And they actually got caught there as he tried to run up rather than down. And so the scout snipers can help pick them off. There was a listening post in their retreat, and we now have 2 power coming down from both players. We have the both heroes actually getting put down at the bottom, one to counter the other. Vortex Grenade going down is going to do a lot of damage, but the Storm Boys will win in a fight if they can get a good one, but they're actually going to be sort of caught out here because the rest of the Marine army is coming down and the rest of the orcs are nowhere near. And they threw out a suicide bomb there as well, which means that they lost one of their own models, meaning they're very weak, and he's actually going to lose this entire bottom point here, Koof. The Marines coming back after that bad loss on their side of the map quite well to get themselves an advantage. Very decisive moves here by LaFaf. I like it, as always. LaFaf and Koof are actually, I think, 2 of my favourite players to watch from Dawn of War. Even if Koof is a bit of a rager and a moaner on the forums, he's definitely a good player. He does deserve to have his opinion listened to at least for a while. All top players in games like this will be slightly biased towards their own race, just naturally. In so many games I've been in, there are so many top players who will just think that their race is worse than everyone else thinks it, because you only see it from your side. But these Orcs are now going to move in to try and take out this middle post again, although they're not going to have much of a chance because the entire Marine army is here to hold them off as well. So they're just going to head back. Hasn't got any more looters out, hasn't seemed to go very much into this, and so actually at this point he's very low on anything scary. He's got those free listing posts though down, so I'm assuming he's going to try and go for something perhaps a slightly more late game. Just boys right now as we can see it. Not creating anything else either. No more boys coming down, no more nothing. So this fight actually seems like it's a bad idea from Koof, because he has not made any units for a while, and the Marine army is getting quite big, although it is mostly Scout Marines and a lot of damage is done onto that front line. Both jump squads of either side is getting on the back, but the Scout Marines can get some really good jumps off on that, and as soon as the Assault Marines feel like they might be in trouble, they can jump back to get onto the Storm Boys as well. And these guys might not be able to get out. The Marine army is quite low on damage, so they might, but there are snipers here. These snipers could very easily just pick them off, and as they do, there are a few too many war towers for them to really push in right now and do a lot of damage. They might be able to push out one with their damage, but they're going to lose possibly a lot here because they've got a lot of shots going on here. Yeah, this Assault Marine squad is now going to go down unless they can get the last minute jump out, but nope. That's gone down. Trading a war for a tower for an Assault Marine squad. She's probably fine, honestly. LaFaf is probably okay with that, although he would have obviously preferred to not have that go down. We've got some knobs out as well now which is very powerful, and a truck. So knob truck combo, very old school play. Not something we see that much anymore. A lot of players have not been utilising the truck as much as people used to, although I think the truck is very good, so I think it is a mistake that people don't utilise it as much as they used to. The scouts, nice and split out. All going to manage to get their grenades off onto this truck, keep it held up for a long time, but since there's only scouts here, they're really not going to do that much damage. Now the drop pod coming down is quite nice, but it's just going to allow the Orcs to be thrown out right over the scouts. A huge taunt there, getting absolutely everything, but there's not really any follow-up damage here from the Orcs. They will be able to do some damage here, but with the banner coming down especially, this isn't looking like a good situation in my eyes. The scouts are very low damage, especially when they're caught in melee, but he's going to lose his truck here. And having no follow-up damage... Oh, the explosion did quite a lot of damage there, actually. And it turns out that I was entirely wrong and that he has just more damage than the Marines. This right here is something that I always feel like I should be careful of expecting the Marines to be too low damage, because Scout Marines are incredibly low damage, but we see them get such good opportunities so often, and that really turned out incredibly well. He did lose his truck though, which is pretty bad, and I believe he lost a squad of boys there. I'm pretty certain he lost a squad of boys, so it wasn't an entirely safely won fight, but he did get a few squads down here for the Marines, as you can see on their side. Still a lot of scouts going down though, as I mean, that is how playing scouts works. You just can pump out so many units. So the Orcs are going to come up here and take the top point. Knobs being incredibly strong as always. But I'd like to see something else come out though, honestly, because Knobs at this point, when you're only going up against scouts, sure, they're strong. But Knobs don't actually do that much damage if they're facing against units of their own tech level. And we can see that LaFaf doesn't have tier 2 yet, but he could be going for it in not too long. He's only at 100 energy, so it might take a while. Pushing up on the side here now. He's not going to really get that much. The boys have put themselves in here. His guys trying to capture the point were harassed by these Storm Boys, and the Orcs have now taken the top point, or at least stopped the Marines from having the top point. So Storm Boys are going to keep running away. They could easily get caught by some scouts here though and get absolutely stun comboed up. Very good stun locking there coming in from LaFaf. perfectly timed. A lot of damage going down. Will this back one hit? I don't think it will. Nope. And now we're at the we've had 5 elite points in from each player. Or no, actually there is oh no, that's just going up. Yeah, good. I didn't think I'd missed that. So there should be a extra hero coming down from each side. You can see the weird boy here and the librarian here. This point actually isn't gonna give a huge amount of advantage though, because if this gets finished up now and doesn't go down for the rest of the game, all it means is that he'll get his last 4-point hero slightly in front of Koof, which I don't think will be a huge downside. But there's a big army now of scouts coming in, trying to push onto this side. Interesting that they're 100% going into pushing on this side, but there are some weakened orcs here already, which are going to go down pretty badly. Now, there's a big taunt in there, but the stun actually just cancels the taunt. Now, Gork's Fist going in, going to get a really good hit there on a lot of scouts. I think there was actually a whole squad of scouts that went down there. And although this army looks big and scary and does take ages to die and can really chew through an enemy army, it's taking a very long time for them to get any of these buildings because they do so little damage. They will take out the first War Tower as a War does go down on the back. This could be scary for the Marine player, but there's just very little orcs on this field. Koof is playing a very low unit style, which is not quite what we'd expect from an orc player. He has got his first Death Dread out. These Death Dread's going to be pretty powerful. He's keeping up the wars so that if anyone comes in, he can push out onto them. Minefield's getting placed in the back now. Is quite a dangerous situation for the orcs pushing back. And the War Tower is actually going to go down mid-war, which is very unfortunate. Now we have a couple of Shooter Boys and the Death Dreads. Koof doesn't seem to have any sort of stable unit roster that he's settled on being good like this the Marines have. Now, this Death Dread is going to push in. He's getting a load of stuns, but all of these scouts around here are super weak, and there's knobs going on the bigger group of scouts down the bottom. The scouts are trying to pull things through the minefields, and they will get some hits off. This Dread at the top is actually going to get taken out by some more mines that he turns into, trying to get these snipers. But that's going to be a huge Gork's Fist that's going to take down a ton of the scouts. There's actually no scouts left on the field now. That was all of the scouts, but all we have now is 3 shooters here. Oh, there's a few more shooters coming down. That's a good work. Knobs trying to get their shield explosion to do some damage, but they're going to have to retreat now. Actually dragging the bounce of the Librarian's attack onto some more Shooter Boys. But that was quite a close work here. However, if we're looking at this overall, LaFaf just consistently has more points. He's kept the middle almost entirely. All of these pushes out from the Orcs have managed, even when they've managed to win these fights, they've just pushed the Marines off and then not had enough left to take some of these points. And this is a big problem because it means that the Marines just being able to come up. He's upgrading his stronghold to tier 2 now. This is going to bring him towards that ever-powerful Marine late game. If he can keep just pumping out scouts and they can hold off the Orcs, he can start losing points now. He can start losing points to these wars, which he's actually just not going to let happen because there are no Orcs around here to defend it. But yeah, he can actually lose all these points, and it doesn't matter too much as long as he can then get to the late game. You know, as long as these scouts can just hold him from being overrun by Orcs. If he can get to Predators and Dreadnoughts, he can start winning. This is likely LaFaf's plan. Going to be setting down some minefields here. Knobs are actually going to go on top of the minefields, but they're so tanky it doesn't seem to matter too much. Drop coming down in the back of just some more scouts. Scouts on top, Librarian running through the middle. Actually looks like he's going to put up a wall there. No, he's just lightning blasting, but he does get taunted by these knobs and pulled straight into this. He's going to get Gork's Fisted as well, which is going to do a lot of damage. Taking out the scouts that are still there, but Orcs are falling in the top side. These knobs are getting very low, and so now it's just one of these killer cans and the caster, the Weird Boy himself. And this seems to be basically the whole Orc army here. There's one group that you can see coming out of the base here, and there's a couple squads that are counterattacking down the bottom, so they have at least got something out of this. But how much will they lose at the top for their gain of this one measly point? Missed rocket there. big hit there from the Weird Boy. That is incredible. A bit too clumped was LaFaf's forces. Normally a very good player at not doing that, but he's still getting some damage here. The rocket launcher from the kill team is going to be very helpful here. Scouts are going to start locking these up, but there's only a couple of scout squads, so it can't be too many. The Vortex Grenade is going to get a lot of work done here, as they are held in the bottom, and now they have scout snipers from the top raining on them as well. This is very much not looking good. Oh, another Gork's Fist coming in though. And a rocket straight onto the kill team. That's really close to getting the kill team. It's still not going to be enough, but it makes that a lot closer to being a good trade, as it were. Oh, the kill team might even get sniped here. Very good from Koof there, moving up his killer cans right at the last point to push them up. And he's even pushing on the other side, which seems to not be going too well, because both the Librarian and Gabriel is here to push this off. We have the remains of this skirmish still going on at the top, and Gabriel just absolutely coming in, hell's blazing. Now, perhaps Koof may not have been used or ready for this, because he didn't think he could be out because of the point, but he knows that that middle point has been had by LaFaf for a long time, so he should be at least expecting that there could be a possibility of having that elite point down. So we have quite a good squad at the bottom now, and he's moved into his primary powerful tier 2 tech, the last cannon devastators, which are going to be able to get a lot of damage if they set up. Now Koof counterattacking at the top again. Perhaps feels it takes too long to push through these armies of scouts, and so he's just deciding to move up onto the other side. We can actually see that there's also Deathstorm coming down, which is very interesting. Scouts and las cannons for now, and if he can move up to tier 3 at some point soon, that will start adding some more. We can start adding some more tanks and vehicles to that. Vehicles. Why is it so hard to think of the word vehicles during these casts? So this point is going down at the bottom. The Orcs aren't really getting anything on the other side of the map, so this is entirely a loss now if these boys go down. And Diomedes will take these boys. Not Diomedes. Why do I always call them Diomedes? Gabriel will take these Orcs down pretty quickly. More boys coming up to reinforce this, but he's just throwing boys into here to hold off the storm right now. We have some killer cans at the top, but they're all standing together, and it looks like they might all get hit. Only two actually getting hit by that stun grenade. Decent Gork's Fist right on the back onto these last cannon devastators, but it only takes down one model. Gabriel is very close to going down, but the Orcs can't push in. They mainly have killer cans here, so they can't actually force any retreats here. Now, your boy the Weird Boy actually doing a bit of fighting himself there. Not quite the best idea. But now there are 3 last cannon squads here. One of them fully charged, one of them just got taken down, the other one charging up as we speak. But the boys are going to jump out. These killer cans are doing their best, but having this ranged force is very interesting. It's not a style of Orcs that I've seen being so successful at the time, but it's doing pretty well. You can keep them so far away that you can just get some damage out. They are doing that true damage, which is going to keep them useful whatever comes out. I am not an Orc player who uses them much, honestly, so I'm not incredibly knowledgeable on how useful they are, but this is sort of looking decent. Although I feel like the problem is that in this situation he needs something really to hold down the retreat from the Marines, because with so many scouts, the possibility of just a huge retreat and protecting all of his last cannons and heroes is really real. One of the things that makes this all scout composition, or scout heavy composition, so effective is that you might only have 2 or 3 last cannon squads, but you can get most of them out of every fight if you play it right, because you can just keep the enemy held down. So this war going off now, there are going to be boys running across the field. Scouts are going to suddenly arrive, and they're going to start just pounding down explosives onto these few squads of boys at the front. And the last cannon's going to start charging up. But the boys going down already. A big suicide squad down there from the Storm Boys. This is really good, but Diomedes is getting in there right on the back. Lots and lots of drop pods coming down with scouts and with the kill team. And the Orcs mainly retreating out of here, except for the 3 heroes. The Storm Boys looks like it's going to go down on this backside. Oh, just getting away on a sliver of health. Big Gork's Fist looks like it's going to hit hugely. Doesn't though. Sort of collapses to the side. A very good reaction from LaFaf. And your boy will probably be fine. I'm gonna say that sort of, you know, knowing that I could be wrong. Some good hits from the killer cans now, but your boy's pretty strong. Gorguts is pretty powerful, pretty tanky dude. Got a pretty good taunt out there, but now the Death Storm's coming down in the back line, right in front of the buildings. This is a really nice play, because this might really be the end of Gorguts. This might be what it takes to take it down, although he's not focusing on it. And Gorguts is going to get away with the grab. Very nice use of that there, but Last Cannons can now set up on the edge, and there isn't really a powerful Orc army to defend this. This looks like the end of the game here, especially as we can see we have some sneaky scouts in the back trying to do some damage. It doesn't look like they'll actually get much, as it is only scouts. But the Last Cannons are going to slowly work through this, while Gabriel Angelos, the Dreadnought that he is just going to be on the back, just stopping anything from getting anywhere near these Last Cannons. So the Last Cannons are just entirely safe this whole time. A couple of rockets going to come in from the side, but not enough damage in there to actually scare these Last Cannons off of what they're doing. And another squad of Last Cannons coming up as well to reinforce this. Standard coming down to make this attack even safer. And just look how fast that goes down with all of these Last Cannon Devastators. This is really an incredible amount. This is where their damage starts to just go absolutely through the roof. Just absolutely shredding the shield generator. It looks like Koof might go for one last attempt to defend this, perhaps under turret if the Marines push in there, which it doesn't look like they are, although that kill team is going to wander in there. Slight mismanagement there from your boy LaFaf. But this building's just going to go down. This point's going to be down. The Orcs are chasing in here under just a solo kill team, who's actually going to get a very good Vortex grenade in, figuring that there's nothing here. A lot of damage going into the Marines front, but huge scout grenades, this huge amount of scouts just holding off this push. And as I said, you know, these scouts can keep throwing grenades, can keep the Last Cannons alive. Apart from those ones, they're dead. And now that the army is sort of split up, as some of the faster units have pushed up further, the Last Cannons can stop and just take out those faster units, while the rest of the army is still clumsy moving through the back. And actually, all of the killer cans going to go down to scout mines. Holy moly, that was really bad timing. That was really unlucky. And Koof will, because of that, throw in the towel. Ooh. There's no more power core.